Hello YouTube and people of the interwebs, welcome back to the channel. Sadly today we're burdened with this man.
You wanted me here, don't lie.
No, I have no idea how he ended up in this video. He just sort of appeared here.
He begged me actually, he was like, please come on my channel.
Also, in the comments, you've got to tell us that we both have Cybermen
Yeah,
heads.
you can't really see mine.
Yeah,
you know mine.
I'll put a picture on screen of, is his name Dennis?
Yeah.
Imagine Dennis. This is the presence.
See, yours is cool because it's the cyber leader. But,
exactly, and I've got the body armor as well.
Should
I just wear this throughout the video?
to just flex over me, like
I'm gonna take this off.
You got to keep
We're gonna get straight to the point of this video, which is discussing the centenary celebration of Doctor Who and the 60th, because there's a lot of interesting stuff on the horizon.
Yes, I agree. That was my invitation to talk away. You were
shut up, Tharries.
Oh, sorry.
But, no, right.
I raised my hand.
First speaking point, I'd say. Okay, so.
I was ready then, and you started laughing.
I'm trying to think. First point of talking is probably the return of the classic Doctors in the centenary, which it's not officially confirmed, but it's looking very, very likely.
Heavily speculated in multiple places, like especially the most common names I'm seeing are Sylvester, because obviously Ace and Seven, and I think I've heard. Thing is, places are giving conflicting answers, like Peter Davison. I've seen some places say he's definite, and I've seen other people say
the thing with Peter Davison is we know for a fact, because of that picture from the hotel, that I think it's David Bradley, Sylvester McCoy, and Colin Baker. They're all together, but Peter Davison's not there. So if there are like mixed whisperings of Peter's return, that makes sense, because those three were in Cardiff.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, I have seen like a lot of rumors about those lot in particular, and it's difficult with that, because obviously, as you rightly pointed out, people have said these have all been together. Are they filming Doctor Who? So it could just be people talking from that perspective, and we've seen these three together, kind of making an educated guess type of deal. But then there's also the aspect of, like, it is very convenient, and Janet Fielding, as you mentioned to me when we were talking privately, like she's kind of hinted at other characters.
She put out a tweet the other day which implies it could just be a pun on Doctor Who, but she put out a tweet saying something along the lines of who will return, because someone asked her, who's in the centenary, sorry, and she put who will return, who being in caps, which obviously Doctor Who is the pun there, but does she literally mean Doctor Who as in Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy? Because I think it is likely, and the fact that they were in Cardiff and everyone's been talking about it for ages, it does feel like, it could happen.
And it'd be really sweet as well to have these classic companions reunite with their respective Doctors as well. Especially, I think, for Ace and Seven, because we never really got a full-on conclusion for them. Obviously, in Survival, they walk away, they never see
into the sunset. I think it could,
obviously,
it could go for like a No Way Home style approach, in that the third act is the classic Spider-Man or the classic Doctors coming back and doing their thing. They get their little character development bits, like Andrew in No Way Home saved like this version of Gwen, whatever she's called, MJ. And in Doctor Who, you could have the fifth Doctor coming back and apologizing to Tegan for all of the warfare or whatever. You get Seventh Doctor and Ace, you get Katie Manning.
13 resurrects Adric.
Exactly. Hashtag bring back Adric.
And then 5, like, I got rid of him for a reason. You must have forgotten your old age.
R.I.P. Adric, gone, but never
forgotten. You need like one of those cringy, those cringy memoriam videos, like, I will remember you.
That is the last thing anybody needs. I don't know, because is it going to be too overstuffed? I'd like to see them in it, but is it too overstuffed?
This is my worry. It's already kind of overstuffed as it is. And the thing is, they're teasing more stuff, and I'm just like, at what point does this stop being a story and start being a collection of things? Like,
just throw everything at the screen and see.
It's a difficult balance to strike. I'm not saying it can't be done. Like, it can work. It's worked in Doctor Who before. Admittedly, not under Chibnall, but with Russell,
debatable.
Obviously, with Stolen Earth Journey's End, obviously you have all of those characters coming in one big, finale type epic. That's a lot of characters to juggle. Admittedly, they had been set up further before then, but ensemble casting Doctor Who, they're not an unheard of thing. Like, it can work. It's just Chibnall the man to do it.
Yeah, this leads us on nicely to the next talking point of this video, which is, if they are including all of these classic Doctors, all these classic companions, etc., how are they going to put this in a story, and how's it going to flow? Now, slight shout out to Stu Bagfull, because he said on a JXE live stream something which I think is a very, very solid theory, and we're going to discuss. So, Tharries, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, so essentially the theory revolves around the idea that the whole point of the episode is, obviously, if you've been following the current era of Doctor Who, one of the major plot threads or character threads that's run throughout at least the last few episodes, starting in Eve of the Daleks in particular, is where it's been to the forefront, is Thasmin. And basically the Doctor has said, but for the long and short of it is, she's basically said, I'm going to die eventually. I can't get close like that to you. So Stu Bagfull's suggestion, from what I can remember, is basically the centenary is going to revolve around the Doctor showing Yaz why that can't happen, and using past companions as a means to show that, in a similar vein to what happened in School Reunion, where with Sarah Jane, she gets reintroduced, and like, I think Rose has a line of dialogue in like, oh, I've been to the year 5 trillion, but this is really see in the future, you just leave us behind. It's like, it's going to have that vibe, and it would make sense to bring back classic companions to fulfill that role, because we've even sort of seen it in this era with Jack as well, where he's been like enjoying the time you have.
Yeah, we've seen that picture as well of Yaz and the Master, and they don't look like they're having a confrontation. They just look like they're having a nice little chat. Like, they're both stood next to each other. And there's definitely time travel shenanigans going on in the episode, because we've got like the lone Cyberman back, and he died in series 12. We've got the Master looking really young and then really old. It's like, they're going to be playing with time. I know, surprise, surprise, it's Doctor Who.
Wow, time travel in a time travel show?
I know, it's revelations here.
You're going to tell me that like there's aliens in it next in Doctor Who?
Maybe, you never know. On a serious note, I do think it would be a good... I don't know, if they handled it well, I think it would be a really interesting idea to see all of these companions that have had their lives sort of screwed over. They've never got definitive endings. And then maybe, because there's always, Donna's coming back as well. Donna had a horrific ending, like the tragedy of that. If the Master goes, look at this.
I don't want that being messed about with too much, though. And that goes for the centenary, the 60th, whatever. Like, that ending is so poignant and so fitting that I almost feel like you do run the risk of ruining it if you change it too much. Like, I think, obviously, we used Noah Him as an example previously. Like, I think that they dealt with it quite well. But, there were a few people who said, when Dr. Octopus gets the thing repaired, is, the inhibitor thing that stops the arms from controlling him. People said, oh, that kind of ruins the ending of Spider-Man 2 because he controls them himself. And that's part of his sacrifice. I don't agree personally, but that was a criticism that
I see where they're coming from, though. Like, it makes sense why they'd say that, but I don't know. It needs to be handled well, is the only thing. It's
definitely an understandable point. But I do worry with, if you did bring back Donna either for the centenary or the 60th or whenever in the future, if you mess with that too much, it could really dilute the impact of that moment. Because that is one of probably the most tragic New Who companion exit, right? Like, because it's not even that they died, it's the version of them that got better because of the Doctor is gone.
Yeah.
And like,
it's really handled so well. And like the performances from Bernard Cribbins, David Tennant, all of this. Maybe they could visit Wilfred, because then you wouldn't ruin Donna, and you'd get Wilfred back, and everyone loves Wilfred. And then you'd have a little, look at the effect the Doctor has on people's lives thing.
The heartbreaking line in Journey Down where it's like, Will says, she was better with you though. And Sylvia's like, no, stop. It's like, no, but she was though. And he gets really visibly upset by that. And I am skeptical of those, but like classic companions, as long as it doesn't directly contradict anything, I think it's fine. Like, obviously in Tegan's case, she left of her own volition on Earth. Makes sense for her to come back. Obviously Ace again, we don't
makes sense for her to come back with a big machine gun.
Left
because of
violence. I was
violence.
just about to say, I hope that there is a narrative justification. I mean, there probably will be. But
there's got to be some form of like reason as to why Tegan has a machine gun, because I don't know, like you can't just throw it in there and be like, yes, Tegan left. It was too violent, and then she's back killing everything. It's like
she's just horrified by the Pting.
The mighty Pting. Ryan Sinclair comes back. Actually, Ryan is the one person from this era who it makes 100% sense for him to be in the episode, but no one's seen or heard anything of Ryan. Like we've seen Graham, but where is Ryan?
I think it's likely that there's probably like scheduling conflicts or something. My assumption is going to be that, and I reckon he'll get like a name drop by Graham. He'll say, "Oh, Ryan's doing really well. He's off to see his mates this weekend." You know,
he's just off. I don't know. Maybe, to be fair,
reunited with the drag from his nightmare sequence. Remember that? They go skipping off merrily.
If they couldn't have him on location with all of them, they could do this really clever thing where they tie it into his first appearance in the show, where you have him vlogging at the start of the thing, and it starts with like, "Today I'm going to talk about this, and I'm skiing with my mates.
Talk about the greatest woman who ever died."
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Something like that. There are rumors as well that the episode's going to be called like "The Woman Who Fell to Time" or "The Woman Who Fell."
That would be a sick title. Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie. I think that would be a great title. Like it's got such like double meanings as well.
And it would. See, this is the thing. I might be being too ambitious here, but I think there is a lot set up for Chibnall to like just beautifully pay off, because we've already got the parallels between Yaz's nan and like her relationship with that guy, and then the 13th Doctor and Yaz's relationship. Because if we remember back to Demons of the Punjab, Yaz's nan has this broken watch, and she's like, "This is my history, Yaz, and I had a love, but it didn't last, and it could never last, but I'm happy now and married to another man," and all this, and it's all happy and nice. Now, the Doctor and Yaz are going to end up, Yaz is going to be, like, by the end of the episode, I reckon, an old woman, happily married to, like, another woman that's not the Doctor, but she will give her grandkid the pocket watch, the Doctor's open fob watch, like, and it's cracked, and she'll say the same sort of speech, and it's like, oh, a really nice parallel of Yaz and the Doctor had a bit of time together where it was beautiful, happy and nice, but in the end, Yaz, like, found someone that she could live with forever. Well, not forever, because she's not immortal, but you get the gist.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the thing is, I think that would probably be where he went with it if the love story had been planned from the start. My only thing is, because it was a retroactive edition, is Chibnall going to think back to that moment? Because Chibnall's continuity is weird. Like, some random things will end up being important down the line, but then other things that feel like they should lead to more.
I do think it's already, the implications there, because in Legend of the Sea Devils, Yaz literally says, like, "Oh, my nan always says blah blah blah," and if that, like, you don't just randomly have, "Oh, my nan," but then I suppose you do, because Ryan just goes like, "My parents are dead" every episode. So maybe
that was his flawless impression of the dialogue as well. That's literally what he says. He goes, "I got dead parents."
That's sad.
But anyway, look, there's a Pting over there.
I'm a bit socially awkward.
Oh no! Can you imagine Graham brings up his cancer again in the centenary, and the Doctor's like, "Well," and then just leaves.
Yeah, it'll be brilliant, great scenes there. Also, the one other thing in this episode that it might not wrap up, but it should. What's going on with Vinder and Bell's child? Because is it going to be the Doctor? Are they going to pull Bill?
I really hope it isn't. But as we said, I think before, like, logistically, it can't be anyone other than Time Lord, because there's no other character that fits their, like, you know, they don't look the same as them, you know, or enough to be their kid. Because it can't be Ashad, because their face just does not look. I know, obviously, I know
they've got to be the same ethnicity as like Vinder and Bell, and there is no character yet that we know of who is of that ethnicity, unless they're Time Lord, as you say.
Because then again, the Master, I said before, like the thing is, I don't really want it to be either the Master or the Doctor, because I am just a bit like, why are we making more characters more important than they need to be?
It's like, a bit random as well. Like,
it would come out of nowhere.
You would have. if they
If
were
it
the
was the
Doctor's
Doctor especially, I
parents,
really wouldn't like it. Like, I'd be like,
yeah, I don't think I'd be. Obviously, I'm not on board with the idea, but I do think there would be a certain niceness to if they were the Doctor's parents. After the Doctor's got this whole like God complex thing and all whatever, their parents are literally just your average Joes of the universe who getting about, have an adventure. I mean, Vinda
yeah.
and Bell both share kind of doctory characteristics. Like
Yeah, because
Vinda's,
there is that
yeah.
line in the Vanquishers that I think made me think that that was where they were going to go with it, because I think it's Bell says something to the effect of, "Oh, killing the Sontarans, that's the family business." It's like
genocide.
Like, well, yeah, but it's something like that that does like almost give the vibe that like it's gonna be the Doctor. So like the idea didn't come out of no. I mean, it kind of did, but like lines like that are almost kind of like hinting more towards it. And we know that Chibnall's not exactly subtle. Like
this is just our as yet unconfirmed theory. So as yet unborn child. What a great piece of dialogue.
That line, I think that line is genuinely, that's up there with, I guess we'll have to have a conversation.
Oh no. The Wi-Fi family need to come back in the centenary. Just
mid for them to come back since resolution.
Mid-climax of the episode, the Wi-Fi family just appear. There's a knock on the door, and then it's that guy from the Flux episode that sits on the hill, and he's just like, "I'm teasing you. What have you done? We turned off the Wi-Fi box." It's it'd be brilliant. And then the Sontaran eating chocolate.
Side characters just walk in the door. It's like, it's us. And it's like, now, have you seen like the Spy Kids movies? Like just the random weird side characters just start appearing. Like you get the weird hill guy, you get the Wi-Fi family,
Avengers
Endgame. Hal Tracky from Battle Around Skoro Kolos.
Eat my salad, Halloween man.
Yeah, get him back, even though he's dead. Doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
who
Ashad,
else?
the Lone Cyberman died. Why can't Salad Man come back? Like,
well, yeah, that is a good question. How is he back? I assume it's time travel, but like the thing is, I do wonder about that, because the Master didn't exactly like Ashad.
Yeah.
So if he has brought him back, it's like
bit
why?
random. Yeah.
You didn't like him to begin with, unless it is a flashback scene, which it could also be. But it's like this is the thing we were talking about with the centenary. It could literally go in any direction. Like, like all we basically know is characters are in it, and that's about it.
Well, I do reckon that there is some credibility to the idea that they're going to have the whole Master showing Yaz the Doctor's. Oh, you can't love the Doctor because the Doctor's a horrible person.
Yeah, if the Master kind of acts like they could do, like, you know, Christmas Carol, how they show like the ghosts of Christmas future. Could almost be like that, where it's like, this is how you will end up if you stay with her. She's hidden this from you. And like there could be that an element of tension there, which honestly, I kind of think we do need a tragic ending for one of the companions of this era, because Ryan and Graham, they just sort of leave. Like,
peace out, we're off.
And I don't think they're going to give John Bishop a tragic ending either, because I think
he'll end up
Legend of Sea Devils, they pretty much said, "Oh, die, do you want to get back together?" And that, and she's like, "Yeah, well, like, let's go grab a pizza." I don't know why that's what they're doing, but they're going to pizza. I've decided. Yaz is like the last one you could do a tragic ending for.
I don't want a tragic ending for Yaz. As I say, I think the pocket watch idea is literally like,
I want them all to die. Not joking.
Burn everything and everyone. But speaking of death, that was a smooth segue.
really not
Speaking of death, the 13th Doctor. We know she's filmed at somewhat regeneration scene. And the latest rumor, I say latest, it's been banging on since God knows how long. David Tennant is coming back. What we thinking?
Big mega Chad. Well, this is the thing, right? There's been so many hints towards this that with each day that passes, more of me believes it.
Yeah.
Like initially, I was like, nah, that's not happening. Like David Tennant coming back again to do a few specials. Like, no. And then the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, you know, you would kind of check out, like, if you think about it from, obviously, there's that great interview with Russell talking about, like, keeping the BBC relevant and stuff, and he wants, basically, the BBC to survive. And that is basically the way you make Doctor Who, like, big news again.
It would, like, because I know, like, I've said this so many times, but everyone of my generation, like, would come back to the show. It would be shared on TikTok. Instagram, it would be like
Yeah.
oh my god, David Tennant.
Can you imagine like the fan cams of like
Exactly,
or like the side by side pictures of how it started and how it's going,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. I can just picture the social media.
There's so
stuff.
much that like it would genuinely bring this massive buzz to the public. And people like, for example, the people in my fan films, they've all watched Doctor Who and they watched it as kids with David Tennant, but none of them still watch it. They all they know what Doctor Who is, they know the plot of it, but no one still watches it. I guarantee every single person there would watch the show again if David Tennant comes back.
I feel like the last time Doctor Who was actively like a big thing, and I could be wrong, this is just my perspective, was the 50th.
Yeah.
And that's because you had David Tennant coming back. I mean, it was part of it, wasn't it? Like, and it was just the fact that it was the anniversary in general. Sorry, table. It was the anniversary in general.
The show does need to survive without Tennant though, and I think bringing him back for a little bit and then allowing a new Doctor in
is basically get the show to a peak of relevance again, and then you introduce a new Doctor off the back of that to basically propel the show forwards. Basically having it almost like when you don't start a car. It's like David Tennant's like, the kick of the wheel. That's not how it works. The kick of
genius.
Like when Marty McFly, he bangs his head on the car and it starts going. That's going to be David Tennant to the Doctor Who franchise. Yeah. And then the new Doctor will be, carrying the flame, as it were.
I think as well that, like, I was checking my phone at the beginning of this video, not because Tharries is incredibly boring. Don't get me wrong, he is.
No, I'm fascinated.
But TV Zone, who is this, like, what even are they? They're like a media corporation that just pump out TV
I don't actually know what their origins are, but recently they've been they've been getting like a lot of the early Doctor Who previews, which is how I know of them. And like, obviously they were getting promotional images for each of the Flux episodes.
Yeah, like every week they had all these big promos of Flux.
Like
they knew about the RTD.
They're not like some random account that's just called themselves a TV account, because they do happen. But this is like
they
one
have
of those
ties
ones where they actually do have stuff that's sent to them.
Yeah.
And they did just tweet, as you pointed out, some TV news coming next week, which is both the least surprising and most surprising thing of the year so far. And now the thing
it's got to be Tennant, because the least surprising is Tennant, because everyone said, "Oh, David Tennant's coming back for the past 5 months." But it's also incredibly surprising because, oh my God, David Tennant.
And it's also the fact that normally, because the Doctor Who fandom is so desperate for news, they normally qualify something with "it's not for Doctor Who," just so Doctor Who fans leave them alone. Yeah. But in the case of this, they haven't qualified it. So if that's any evidence of anything, probably isn't. Probably is us reading too far into it. But like, we've heard filming rumors for a while now that like late April, early May is like the filming time as well. So timeline wise, it does line up if they are doing 60th stuff with Tennant. This isn't like me saying it's definite, but like it's the wording as well. As you said, the least surprising and most surprising. It's like it's such a fitting descriptor of that, because we've all heard about Tennant. But at the same time, like, it would be a massive shock if it became a reality.
Did they say when they're going to post the news? Because the only thing I'm thinking as well is something this big, surely they wouldn't know like weeks in advance.
They said some TV news coming next week.
Next week. It's,
I mean, that could be
Sunday
anytime.
Tomorrow. Yeah,
that
Monday
could be any
is the
time.
start of the new week.
15 minutes later.
It's the fact as well, we haven't had a 14th Doctor announcement or any news on the 14th Doctor at all. It's like,
no,
where's all that been? Because it would make, if they haven't cast the 14th Doctor yet, and they're not filming with the 14th Doctor till way in the future, then it makes sense for them to bring back David Tennant for a few like feature-length 60th anniversary special.
We haven't had a 14th Doctor as well, as you said. It makes too much sense, because you wouldn't need to announce the 14th Doctor if there was going to be Tennant taking over temporarily to do the 60th. So you could theoretically not announce the 14th Doctor for ages, but announce Tennant returning.
And they could even push this so that in the centenary special you get that's the first time we see the 14th Doctor or something like that.
Which would be cool, as long as we have something between now and then. Like, I don't want it to just be like, obviously I know we're speculating about Tennant, but imagine that just doesn't happen and we don't see the new Doctor till the centenary. It would just be a bit like, what is there to be hyped?
There needs to be news or something at least. But I think
it is coming. Like the winds are blowing in the right direction.
The winds of change.
Yeah,
but I think that's a nice wrap up to the video. Unless you have any final thoughts.
Just that I hope that whatever happens, it's good and enjoyable. Obviously, the centenary, I think. Like, obviously, if you know me, I'm not a big Chibnall fan, but I think it's
really.
No, I know it's shocking, isn't it?
I can already see everyone on Twitter going, "Stupid Tharries!"
I think it's going to be a fun episode, even if it is a bit of a mess. Like, might be that. As for the David Tennant stuff, I honestly think the more I've thought about it, the more it just makes sense to do. And I know some people will see it as like going back to the past, but I think you can do that so long as it's not a long-term thing. For a temporary boost, I think it works. Yeah. So long as they move forward after that, I think we'd be golden. But I do kind of hope that some of this is true, at least.
I agree, and I think that does well and truly wrap up today's video. So thank you very much, Tharries, for hopping on over here. Go and subscribe. The link is not in the bio because we hate Tharries.
No, you guys, I'm like the best one. No, subscribe.
No, don't subscribe to Tharries. Actually, cancel Tharries for the 5th time this week. Would it be the 5th time this week? How many times?
I don't know.
And cancel. They're filming Echoes End 2 in the morning. This has turned into a ramble, but we've got all the props ready, the scripts ready.
I'm not there. I don't know why I'm agreeing with you.
Yes. But that well and truly does bring us to the end of today's video. If you did enjoy, please do remember to like, comment, subscribe. Also, tell us in the comments what you think. Are we waffling? Have we said anything true?
Probably.
Do you have any inside leaks? Dare I say that word? The leaks. Maybe
my favourite word.
Thank you for watching and goodbye.
See you later.